I want to start by just saying that part of why you have bipartisan agreement here on the dais about the severity and importance of this hearing is because this is not just a single shooting. This is about national security and the security of our democracy. It's not just one operational failure. This is about our public officials safe. And what does that signal to our country and to the world about American security and the ability of our officials to do their job safely? So I want to start by saying thank you to all of our brave men and women who are in the uniform, whether it's the Secret Service or local law enforcement, who put their lives on the line. I think obviously we honor their service, but this is really about operational failures and what it means for our country at large. And I also want to reaffirm that we must condemn unequivocally political violence of any kind, not just political violence, and that it cannot be tolerated in this democracy. And also to offer my prayers for the slain Fire Chief Corey Comprator, and also prayers for those who've been injured. Now, I think, the tone of this hearing is, how is it that a 20-year-old young man with a gun that was legally purchased by his father could, on the day of a rally, go to a gun shop, legally purchase ammunition, show up to a secured site, and then not only attempt an assassination of a political figure, but kill and injure 2 others? How could this happen? I'm not asking yet. I think we've had a lot of testimony here today. I want to talk a little bit about the timeline. Now, here's what we know, and I know, Director, you were also on the call that we had a few days ago with the FBI and other law enforcement, so I respect that you are not able to share, based on your testimony, some of the details that are currently being investigated, but I know you were on the call because I heard you on the call and you heard them too. So I'm going to lay out the timeline a little bit. On July 3rd, the rally was announced that it was going to be in Butler. On July 6th, 3 days later, we know that the shooter searched for dates for Trump and DNC events. On July 7th, so this is 4 days after the announcement, the shooter went to the site. He actually physically went to the site. On July 12th, the shooter went to a gun range where he and his dad regularly go and practiced shooting. And the next day, on July 13th, he went to the site again before the rally began. We know that he then went and searched online for a gun store, where he went and he purchased 50 rounds of ammunition, went home, got his father's AR, which was legally purchased, and returned to the venue. At 5 p.m. that evening, this is more than an hour before Donald Trump actually took the stage that evening, local law enforcement were made aware that there was a suspicious man. In fact, at 5:20, local law enforcement flagged that he had a rangefinder, and they radioed their concerns and sent around pictures of the individual. At 5:40, 20 minutes before local law enforcement actually identified the shooter, and at 5:51, Secret Service was notified of the suspicious person by the state police, and 1 minute later, they distributed that information. That was before Donald Trump even took the stage. That was 11 minutes before he took the stage. So the Secret Service was aware that there was a suspicious person. At 6:03, he took the stage. At 6:09, rally-goers, as was shown in the video, identified this gentleman climbing on the roof. At 6:11, 3 shots were heard, 3 rounds of shots, and of course, the president and the other victims were shot. This shooter was a 20-year-old young man, no criminal record, legally purchased gun and ammunition, who for days in the lead up to this shooting was searching mass shooters. He even had a picture of a mass shooter on his cell phone the day of the shooting. He searched for explosives. He searched high-level officials. So the American people want to know, how did a 20-year-old young man with access to a military-style weapon actually bring it on to an unsecured perimeter who for days had been planning a mass shooting event. And I think that, Madam Director, with all due respect, the answers that we've received here in this hearing today are completely unsatisfactory. How could this happen? We need answers. We need answers not just for the family members of the gentleman who was killed and those who were injured, but we need answers for our democracy. Because as others have stated here today, we are in a highly politically charged environment right now. We are only weeks away from one of the most significant presidential elections in American history, and it is clear that our public officials' safety has not been secured. And it is not just a matter of one shooting, it is a matter of national security. So I hope that you will take our comments to heart. I hope that there will be accountability, and we need answers. And with that, I yield back.
Chair now recognizes